So before I plant the potatoes, the purple sweet potatoes, you're probably thinking, why bother growing something that doesn't naturally grow in the UK climate in the UK? Well, there's many reasons for that, because purple sweet potatoes not only taste amazing, they're also 20 times higher in antioxidants compared to white potatoes, which grow here really well. So I want to take advantage of that in my own garden. I'm going to break a few rules and grow in a greenhouse because it isn't the natural climate to grow purple sweet potatoes. They would usually grow in a subtropical, tropical climate where they basically grow year round like weeds. But there's actually a lot of interesting studies around purple sweet potatoes and the health they can actually bring to your diet. One of the longest living populations on the planet, which is the Okinawa people it's a blue zone. If you know anything about blue zones, it's in Japan, identified as a place where people have exceptional longevity. A large part of their diet, in fact around 80% of their diet, was sweet potatoes, and predominantly purple sweet potatoes. So if you want to get anything like that in your own life and you have a long lifespan, I suggest start growing your own purple sweet potatoes wherever you are in the world, even if you have to break a few rules to do it. So what you're going to need to do is get your hands on some purple sweet potato slips. As you can see, I've got some here that were delivered in the post yesterday. I've had them in a glass of rainwater to rehydrate them overnight because they came quite wilted in the post, and it's important to have them planted out when they're nice and vibrant. You can see they're still a little bit wilted there, but the top one's just starting to come to life now. If you wanted to, you could actually grow your own slips very easily actually, but the problem is it's not always easy to get your hands on a purple sweet potato, especially in the UK, because they just don't supply them in the supermarkets. Riverford Food used to do some purple sweet potatoes, and I actually did do this in the past. I grew my own slips by getting a purple sweet potato, put it in some compost in a tray or a bucket, and then letting it grow vines, and you can cut the vines off to plant out like this here. Next you're going to need a greenhouse. As you can see, I've got a little glass greenhouse here with the roof removed. It's really important to have, well, I don't agree with having plastic polytunnels. Glass is much better, but even then I do like to have the roof removed because especially on sunny days, the sunlight passing through the glass can actually affect the sunlight hitting the leaves. It's like a filter on the sun. You want to have as much direct sunlight on the leaves as possible to get the best growth from the sweet potato slips. And you'd be surprised how much warmer it actually is still with the roof off, just there, because it's blocking the wind and the sunlight's also going through the glass side and trapping a lot of warmth in. Purple sweet potato planting. All we're going to do is actually bury the plant right up to about there, leaves. I'm going to plant it at a slight angle, about 45-degree angle under the soil, and then space them about that far apart. So first I'm just going to lay them out on the ground to make sure I have enough space for all of them. You don't want to plant your first one and then realise you haven't got enough room. So I'm just going to basically dig a little hole like this and put the sweet potato slip in a bit of an angle like that, and leave the top sticking out. Just pat it down like that. See, I'm covering all the way up to the leaves. You only want the leaves sticking out. Get all the roots under, because these, you can see that one's an example there. The roots have come off basically where that joins, and that's going to be, used to help grow the tubers. It's exciting because this is, well, it's a special food to grow, especially purple sweet potatoes. If you've never tried purple sweet potatoes, one, I feel sorry for you, and two, you're seriously missing out. When they're cooked right and they're roasted slowly, they taste unbelievable. When you associate what I'm doing now with what's going to be the end result, it's exciting. Everything's exciting about growing food because you're bringing something out of thin air. How can that not be good? Planting something and it magically just grows on its own. That's like the miracle of nature at work. So now I've got all the sweet potato slips planted. It's important to give them a quick water to help them get settled into the new home for the next 6 months, I suppose, whilst I produce with some sweet potatoes. The important thing to consider with this is the fact that it's harvested rainwater. This rainwater has been collected through our system, which is really simple to set up. Basically I have a water butt on the pipe of the gutter, leaning some bins, collecting a free resource. It's actually really valuable in the garden. You might not, I don't actually water the garden really at all, but on occasions like this it's important to have access to clean rainwater versus tap water that could be potentially contaminated with chemicals that you don't want or your plants don't want to grow in. So let's give them a quick water with this nice pure rainwater. You hear that then? The other just went. Okay, so we're well into summer now. It's the 1st of September, and I'm just going to check how the purple sweet potatoes are getting on. So let's head down the food forest. Well, lettuce is going to seed, rocket's going to seed, fighting through some raspberries, just coming to life. Apple tree. Right, so this is where the purple sweet potatoes are growing. This is their home in the food forest, and you can see I've still got the lid off. I've not had the lid on for the entire season because, as you know, it's extremely important to have no filter whatsoever to the sunlight. That is actually really important for the plants to get everything they need from the sun to grow strong and healthy. And you can just see how vibrant and green these actually look. They almost look tropical in my not so tropical garden. This is a crop that is not really meant to be able to grow here up in northwest England. It's more of a Mediterranean crop, but I'm pushing the boundaries and I've got a little bit of help from this greenhouse, but like I said, I've still not got the roof on, so it's going to be quite interesting to see when I come around to harvest this what I'm actually going to get for it, because I'm really looking forward to seeing some deep purple sweet potatoes that I know have come from my soil, and I can't even imagine how good they're going to taste when they look that good. And it is one of those things, like these foods, purple sweet potatoes, are arguably one of the best foods on the planet to grow. Because they're just so complete and so well-rounded, and if you can take control of the conditions they're grown in, even in a place where you can't actually grow them, technically can't grow them like here in northwest England, then you're obviously having a massive advantage on compared to any other purple sweet potato on the market. You know, like a lot of food nowadays unfortunately is actually grown in greenhouses with a filter, or even in water without even touching soil. There's a lot of stuff around tomatoes grown in water in greenhouses, and they're missing key parts to the tomato which makes them healthy. So that's why it's really important to have everything in its natural environment to grow in a healthy way, so you can get the healthiest plant from the produce. So I'll give you another update when I'm coming around to harvest them, which will be hopefully not too long off. But you can see they're looking very strong and healthy, and they've settled in well to the UK food forest. Right, it's come to time, I'm calling it. The purple sweet potatoes are coming out. It feels like we're on the brink of winter, and I want to get them out before everything in the garden starts to die back. So let's just go and see how they're getting on. As I'm going through, I've already showed this before many times, but let's see the yellow raspberries. Well, this, look at that. What has been in here? That's a deer, that. It's taken it off the tree and left half the apple. At least it could have done is actually eaten the whole apple. But there's still some on there, some really good ones. They're nice, good looking apples them, and like I said, they're the ones the deer have left, so we're still going to get some. Before I do the purple sweet potatoes, I want to give you a quick update on this, because this is the perennial kale planted at the start of the year, and you can see the size and the health of these leaves. I mean, this is, again, still really young. This is going to get massive, and that is like the next stage to getting getting kale abundance, getting perennial kales. But anyway, right, so as you can see straight away, you probably noticed something's missing. I've removed the greenhouse because, as you can see, they started to crawl out at the top, these long vines, and I just thought I'd give them a bit extra space to spread on the floor. But a few of the leaves are starting to turn a little bit yellow. I could actually leave it a little bit longer to harvest them, but I thought it does feel like the temperature has significantly dropped, and I want to get them harvested before the roots start to get damaged by any potential frost or anything like that. So this is the moment I've been waiting for. So I think I'm going to start with just getting some of the vines and pulling them out from the root. Well, that is one long vine because the plant's literally all the way over here. These vines, by the way, these are next year's plants. I could take one of these and plant, well, this is how they naturally spread like weeds. Each one of these vines here puts out a root at that point there, and then literally they spread like weeds across the ground. But the thing is, we're not in the right climate for that because these are going to die in the winter. If I was in a Mediterranean subtropical climate, these wouldn't die in the winter and they'll just spread like weeds across the floor. So I'm just going to pull off all this covering. As you can probably see, all that covering is the most perfect ground cover. So if you don't want to wood chip your ground and you want to have something that keeps the whole ground covered, purple sweet potato vines are really good at that, as well as producing your food. Right, let's do some searching here then. It's like Christmas come early, isn't it? Right, now for the good bit. Let's see what is actually under here. See if there's any purple sweet potatoes. I should mention before I start digging, because this is going to look pretty poor, this. We have had a very, very poor summer. I'm just setting the expectations. We've had very little sun, and we're in a particularly cold area, northwest England, which we're on a hill, so it's colder than even most of England. And attempting to grow purple sweet potatoes, subtropical plant, Mediterranean plant, isn't probably the wisest idea, but I'm here to push the boundaries. So let's see what I've got. Well, we've got a little one there. The little one, put that there. Pathetic that, isn't it? Oh, I found a monster here. A monster. I am looking forward to eating that one. That is going to really satiate me, that, isn't it? You know, let's see what it looks like inside, right? Look at the colour of that. Look at that. By the way, the colour of these, even though it's very purple now, this gets a lot more intense and a lot more purple when you cook it and when you start to roast them. But I'm not doing a cooking channel. I'm doing showing you how to grow purple sweet potatoes in England. Got another one here. Look at that, another monster. I think this is all a sign to me that purple sweet potatoes might need a warmer climate. To be honest, I'm amazed that all these vines here, look at the amount of green foliage there. It's got to total up to something more than just that, hasn't it? Surely. So perhaps I'm not searching hard enough. I should mention as well, I've actually grown purple sweet potatoes here before, and we had a hot summer that year and I was pretty successful. We got some good, decent sized purple sweet potatoes. But this year, so far from what I'm digging down to find, doesn't look like it's going to be as successful, because it definitely does need a warmer climate. Look at that one. Absolute monster. That one is going to fill me up, that, isn't it? Least it's going to do is going to make me a nice chip. I don't know how I can feel so happy doing this when I'm getting so little reward for my work. But I'm just hoping there's going to be one nice one. See that day right there? They should be growing bigger. That is what, if we had warmth now, because look at all that, right? That's a good example. All that leaves for that. And you're probably thinking now, why didn't I just leave it longer to grow? Because the vines look pretty healthy and strong. But I'm telling you, in about a week's time, these are going to be yellow and dying back, because it is definitely getting significantly colder now. We're just heading into October, and the temperature, I've noticed, has just dropped. It started raining heavy most days. We're actually very fortunate right now, a bit of sun. So I could have left them a day longer, but that's not going to give. One extra day of growth is not going to quadruple the size of that, is it? On a more serious note though, this is why I do talk about the importance of perhaps relocating when you want to start growing food, because if that's best you can do, growing something as good as purple sweet potatoes, or even any sweet potato, then it's a sign that I'm not really in the right place to be as self-sufficient as I could be. And that is why I think I've not even mentioned this yet on the channel, but I am starting a second project out in South Spain where we're going to have tons of sweet potatoes and lots of other good foods like avocados, oranges and all that. But that's in the making, and I will be updating you a lot as time goes on and showing you potential of a Mediterranean food forest versus this one, because I do love all the aspects of this UK food forest. I feel like this food forest in the UK is absolutely amazing. I do love it, but when you want to go fully self-sufficient and grow as much as your own food as possible, the climate does play a big role, like the environmental factor. You do want to have more sun, more warmth, a longer growing season that gives you potential to grow stuff like this, because these are honestly an amazing plant to be able to grow. And purple sweet potatoes or sweet potatoes also store for months once you've harvested them. And I'm not going to bother curing and storing that because there's no need to. But if I had loads of these and I stored them for months, that is literally my survival food for the whole winter. That's why I want to grow them in a warmer climate as well as here, but I'm still going to keep trying to grow them in the UK, because on the occasional good summer we do get, we'll have a more successful harvest and then have more food from the garden. What's the point in trying to grow food if you're not going to try and push the boundaries? Only sticking to white potatoes. Why not try and go something more amazing? Because there's something more rewarding about pulling out a good purple sweet potato versus a white potato. Oh, I've got another big one. Look at that. Massive. Now I should say as well though, here in the UK, still going to be a main food forest, my home. I'm always going to do videos centered around this because I feel like it is very applicable to a lot of people around the world. But yeah, when you do go to a warmer place, there is more potential to grow food. So having both them aspects and being able to show you the difference might not only inspire you to perhaps relocate yourself, but also show you what is possible in different locations around the world. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to sharing it with you all and show you what is possible. Because you know me, I am going to push the boundaries. You know, I think I'm close to calling it a day with these purple sweet potatoes. I don't think there's much more in here. We're just getting little struggles like that. Chips. A few chips from all that. Right, so after all that work, all their months of waiting, that was the harvest. First sweet potato harvest. I have to say I'm a little bit deflated because I was expecting a little bit more from it after seeing how well the vines were actually growing. But that's it. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe. Comment on the video below if you want to see me try again next year and give me some tips now I can get even more purple sweet potatoes next year. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. So I've just cooked this purple sweet potato that came off this massive plant. All them leaves for that little gem. Let's give it a taste. Look at the colour of that. That is so dense and, well, that is really good, that. Sweet as well. Look at the colour of that. If only it was a little bit bigger.